Dude, it is hot today.
Dude, did it say what temperature it was?
The Suburban was reading 104 most of the day.
I'm pretty sure I saw it at like 80 degrees earlier, like this morning, and it was like,
Yeah, never felt that.
it feels like at least 90.
Yeah, it felt every bit of like 104.
Yeah.
The worst part is when it's like I've got a transfer and I've just shown up. It's usually Quail because Quail's the bigger transfer, where I'm like, the Suburban's off. I should just leave it running, honestly. But
It's got the remote start.
The Suburban's off, and I'm like climbing into the back to get boxes and climbing my way back out. And then I'm like, okay, well, my shorts are dirty now. Like I'm wrecked.
Yeah, you should just leave it on as you're climbing around in there.
I should.
Yeah.
Going forward, we're just going to screw the environment. Thomas doesn't want to be sweaty.
Well, I mean, how long are you unloading it for, really? I mean,
yeah, a couple minutes. Yeah. Not bad.
It's not moving around as you're doing that. So not really, hitting on the accelerator.
Right.
It's just idle.
Right.
apparently that's worse for the environment.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fuck me.
That's why you're sitting over there.
All right, before we go too far.
You didn't watch your Captain Planet, did you, growing up?
I guess not, dude.
I think that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Is that where you guys learned that?
No, but
I don't actually know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I've heard that, though. I feel like I have heard that.
Yeah, I have.
That idling is worse.
Okay. Makes sense. Not really, but before we get too far into this conversation, we'll introduce you, Evan Ballew.
Yes, sir.
You have been someone that I've gotten to know at least a little bit at the gym. You came recommended as a podcast guest from Gina Davis. She said she really enjoyed hearing about your story. I know a little bit about your background, but I'll put it in Gina Davis's words that she said that bodybuilding saved your life.
Absolutely.
And I'm interested to learn more about this, man. So cool. I know I always have really good conversations with you. I always spend probably 30 to 45 more minutes extra at the gym anytime you're there. So I got to be careful about getting in conversations with you.
They catch us every time. Huh?
Yeah.
No, that's really cool that she recommended. It just started off with a conversation her and I were having, and I've known her for 10 years. And I guess I just never really had opened up in that way with her, but felt like for some reason, I don't know. I felt really comfortable just telling her the things that I did tell her. And I've been an open book about kind of my testimony and how bodybuilding saved my life. My mom growing up, she always told me that like, my testimony was going to be like one of my greatest gifts. And it's like, you don't go through a lot of difficult things or have a lot of challenges if you can't use them in some way going forward. So it hasn't really ever like made sense to me to hold back my story or, the mistakes I've made or whatever. So kind of I made some of like the background to that is when I was 19 years old, I got sober from heroin. And the first thing that like I decided I wanted to do to really, I guess, try to build confidence or like achieve something was bodybuilding. Yeah. And it gave so much to me in that realm of like, it's like this difficult thing. And a lot of people say, like it's, I don't know, it's seen as this very difficult, challenging thing. And so it was like taking that on and saying like, I don't care how difficult it is. It's something that I know that like, if I just say I'm going to do it and I put everything into it, it's very tangible and I can just make that happen. And that just helped to building on itself in so many ways. And being 19 years old and being a heroin addict,
that's really young
It's really young. So when I got sober, I didn't know who I was,
it's the developmental years for most people, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't my own man. And I think a lot of what like led on to that becoming a thing was my dad not being in my life. When I was 7 years old, my parents got a divorce and he chose to go and do his residency for medical school in another state in South Carolina. And then I just wound up only seeing him about once a year for many years. And I think that kind of was part of like, part of that, like not believing in myself or knowing like who I was. Some of that comes, I think, maybe from like reassurance or affirmations from your dad a lot of the times.
Absolutely.
And so I had to kind of develop those things myself. You know? And bodybuilding was so much like, you know, integral in that way. I mean, it's one of those things that you can have a coach and you can follow a plan or whatever, but you're doing it your way and you have to do it yourself, and no one's going to do it for you. So it's so much about creating something yourself.
Well, there's a really cool aspect to it. And I think like, you have, there's not many things in life. I feel like there's a lot, I'm sure, but there's few things in life that like you have to fully earn on your own, right? Like you don't just walk into a gym one day and walk out the next, 222 pounds shredded, 4% body fat. Like that just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like you have to scratch and claw your way to that point. Right. And there's something really like unique and beautiful about that too, where it's like kind of what you're saying is like, it is something you have to create. You don't just waltz in, and then create this like bodybuilding level physique. And so, that is really like, such a cool part about the sport in general and a lot of sports, but I do feel like it's one of those things where you can't fake it. Right. You can't fake eating the meals you're supposed to eat. You can't fake going to the gym when you don't want to go to. You can't fake any of those things. You've got to earn every pound, every single bit of it. Right. So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And there's a lot of like culture that you wind up getting involved in and connected to in bodybuilding as well. Get into it for the challenge and all these things. And if you're crazy enough, you keep doing it, and then you wind up getting connected into this weird cult. But the cult, you realize, is like, it's like this sense of belonging and involvement and feeling connected to like a community.
Absolutely.
And for me, I was actually just talking to my mom on the phone earlier and talking about how it's kind of weird. I feel like we're born into this world feeling like we've been connected from this like collective. And as we're getting older, if you're tapping and connecting and trying to pay attention, you become more connected to that collective again. And I've really found a lot of connection in bodybuilding. And it was I guess in a time where I felt disconnected from my family in certain ways, because most of that was myself. Disconnecting myself, feeling like I wanted to go and like find my own way, or like their opinions were maybe suffocating to what I wanted to develop as my own opinion or something like that. So then you try to create your own family outside of family, and you do that with your community, and that wound up being bodybuilding. And a lot of the people like Gina Davis and stuff, I looked up to her a lot. And,
well, I think it's one of those things too. So I grew up without my dad as well. And so there is like a unique thing where like, I don't know how to put it. And I think you and hopefully listeners can understand this, where like, it wasn't because of a lack of affirmation from my mother. It was just that I didn't have affirmation from my father. Right. And so it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, no matter what she could have done, it would have never, like, by no fault of hers, it would have never equaled having a dad.
Absolutely. No matter how much she tried to take the role of the father, she wouldn't.
You just can't do both. No. And so I think it's really interesting too, because I feel like with some similarities there, like I always find it very interesting how I think people who are missing something like that do kind of find their way into these really tight-knit communities. Like I don't do bodybuilding, but I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 6 years, and it's very similar, right? You find mentorship, you find advice, affirmation from an external source. And a lot of times, like whether that's male or female, it's still that mentorship that can kind of come in, and like that sense of community can really start to fill those kind of gaps, I feel like, that we don't have. And that's, unfortunate, but I think there is like you're saying, and part of your testimony, it sounds like, and mine too, is like, where I lacked with that growing up, I have now found in community and with good mentorship through those kind of things, and allowed me to grow a lot as myself, as my ability to hopefully give good advice and mentor others, and kind of hopefully fill that role sometimes too, because it's tough, man. It's not easy at all.
You just gave me chills, because that's almost like the silver lining to all of what all this is and you don't even realize it as you're getting into the community and realizing those things, I guess, about yourself and about your testimony, and how it can carry forward into how you can bring people into the community and influence them and help them the way that, it was bodybuilding was the challenge. It was bodybuilding, but then it was the community that I realized I was connected to and being pulled along by that really was like the savior of all of it.
I say this all the time. Like, if it was just jujitsu, I'd go once or twice a week. I go because I love jiu-jitsu, but I love doing jiu-jitsu with my friends.
Right.
I love being around people that I want to be around. The people that I've made these connections with and friendships with is like so much part of it too, where, not everybody's going to be at the gym every time you go, but like there is that bit of like, I wonder who's going to be there today when I go, or if I go to a different gym or whatever that looks like. There's always some source of like, and when you're doing something, and especially as you become more and more successful in it too, it is like that peer affirmation that can be so rewarding too, as like, again, just that external source of people who, notice your jiu-jitsu is really getting good, or, man, like you're looking shredded, or like whatever that is. Like there's such a, like, growing up without that, I resonate so much with like not knowing who I was, because I just never felt like I had that direction or like knew where to go. And so like for me, I was very confused. It was very like, people would be like, man, Thomas, you're funny. And I'd be like, I am. And it's like, I don't know. I didn't know adjectives to describe myself at points in my life. And so like, as I've gotten older and found these communities, it's such a like awesome, like trusting place to like develop and bounce ideas and figure out who you are while you're like immersing yourself in this community. And I'd like, because I feel like, speaking for myself, it's like I had such a hunger for something like that, and I didn't know what it was until I found it.
Yeah. It's you made me think about something. It's almost like we have these introspective thoughts, but without the community, and maybe sometimes like a place from which we were set up, we were thinking introspectively more negatively. And the positive introspective thought comes from the support from community.
Amen.
And we were missing that.
Yeah.
What was it that Cody was talking about last week about the rule of three when it comes to like your community, and about how there's, your immediate, like, your spouse, kids and whatnot. And then there's, exterior families. So like, your brothers, sisters, mom, dad kind of deal, especially at least at this age. And then like friends outside, or it's like immediate family, then friends, close friends, and then like kind of everybody else. And that you like your acquaintances probably more than anything. And it's different people rely on or have different like ways that they rely on those people, that sometimes that relying on that third layer of people is kind of, how did he describe it? It was like, it's your body's like natural reaction to go to that, when in reality you have to help direct your mindset to lean on the people that are closest to you, but some people are going to naturally lean more on that level 2 or that level 3, and you have to like work. And even though when you work on becoming more reliant on the people that are close to you or closer to the people that are close to you, you're still going to have that natural reaction. He was relating it to like how the body works, of like, when, something in like your hip flexors or your psoas, is like not firing correctly, that it can start to, move. I'm going to butcher this, but it'll start to move. Your quads will start to, or your hamstrings will start to take over. And then if those don't work, then like your calves start to take over. And that's what can cause calf injuries, because they're compensating for so much else. But he was relating that to like your the people around you as well. It's just really interesting to hear that like different people have different zones that they rely on. So.
And roles.
Yeah. That's cool. So, question for you. Was bodybuilding a part of becoming sober, or was that after the fact?
That was after the fact. And so like, I can't put it all on bodybuilding realistically, it was, I was homeless, sleeping on a bathroom floor in Edmond, Oklahoma. There was a apartment complex that I had a key card into the community room or whatever. And they had a tanning bed in there. So I could lock the door. And so I would check into there and lock the door in the tanning bed and just sleep on that. I held a job the whole time. But it was just like one day I was just coming down and I was leaning down in the breezeway of the apartment, and I squatted down and I just like was thinking, and it just believed in myself. I guess I was just like, man, I'm worth so much more than this. I have so much more potential than like, I don't know why I'm doing all this with my life. But basically like, thus far, I've been trying to make all these choices myself, and I'm helpless and I can't do it. And so I reached out to something outside of myself, and that was God. And I don't really, like, it wasn't like I hadn't prayed or I hadn't reached out to something outside of myself in so long, other than a darkness. And there were times in my addiction where I felt like that it was a darkness that was going to save me. And for some reason, I felt like I was always more drawn towards that side of everything. I would lean into depression. I would listen to hardcore music. I would, all that. But it seemed like the more and more I leaned into the darkness, things never got better. And it also told me that like I could do it on my own. And so I just gave up. It was like the first time I really said like, I didn't give up. I gave up my control. And I was like, I can't do this myself, and I don't know what to do. And then answers started pouring in my head. It was wild.
This is kind of a combination of a couple of things that I'd kind of heard. And it was actually, funny enough, part of a Theo Vaughn podcast. Theo Vaughn's super funny guy, comedian, but has had some obvious like trials and tribulations in his life. And he put something in a way that like really made a lot of sense to me. So bring it up here as like a parallel, but he talks about how when he would, because he struggled with addiction and a lot of different things, and addiction, self-sabotage, all those kind of things can look a lot of different ways. And he put it in such a way that just like made so much sense to me. He goes, I just wanted everyone to see how hurt I was. And the only way for me to do that was to show everybody how hurt I was. And this is something I've said for a long time in my life. And he said something kind of to the same thing. And he was like, until the day I realized it wasn't my fault, but it's my responsibility to take care of myself now. And I thought that was just such a very powerful like message of like how we can lean towards that darkness in just not feeling heard, not feeling noticed, or not feeling like people know how hurt I am. and I'm going to do everything I can to scream it. And realizing and coming to like you said, of like giving up control and not focusing on it that way, but realizing like, it's not my fault that these things have happened, but it's my responsibility to take care of my own life. No one can save me but me. And then relinquishing that control to God on top of it is like, it's such a powerful story, man.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad that you remembered what he said. And I don't know if you said it exactly how he said it, but that was really eloquently put. And I mean, it made me well up a little bit.
Oh yeah, man. I watched it like 3 times. Waterworks hard, dude.
Yeah. That's something that I even find myself falling into, and I've become more conscious of that. And I haven't, struggled with addiction by any means. I mean, other than caffeine, but I haven't, I can't say that I've, gone through that a period of time in my life, like you guys have, like Yvonne has. But I even find myself, falling into that when like life gets stressful or hectic, like, especially because the people that are closest to me are all the people that I work with, including my wife and Riley that comes to work with us. Is that when life gets stressful, I think my love language is also acts of service, that I'm like hoping for help, that I think I start to get in this mindset of I need other people to see how much I'm struggling. And that's when I get into that, there's a mindset for it it's called something, but I can't remember, but it's this woe is me mindset. And it starts to, hey, like I need help, so I need to like complain or like just assume that like everything is just terrible that's happening to me. And every time I've like got into that mindset unknowingly, it's like everything just continues to get worse, because then I start to look at everything like it's a negative or bad thing, when in reality, if I'm like, all right, like I got this, I'm going to do the best that I can. Everyone else, that's when everybody else actually noticed. Cause like when I'm complaining about everything, everybody's like, Kevin's just complaining. He's overwhelmed. Like just maybe give him some space is honestly usually what they do. But if I'm like, if I can stay positive and just do everything that I possibly can, that's usually when I end up getting more help from other people, because they see how hard I'm working. And being more positive, I think probably attracts people to be closer to me. So I've always done better in that mindset, or I've gotten more help in that mindset than the latter.
You said you have never like had the experience of like addiction or anything, but you can still relate, and there's so many parallels. And in AA they call that exact thing you were talking about, stinking thinking.
Stinking thinking. I like it. Okay, now I got a term
exactly
for it.
what it is. Yeah. And so like you have it just like an addict has it. It shows itself in a different way. And I'm so far removed from like the addiction to drugs now. It's been 11 years.
Whoa, congrats.
A lot of the times people continue their entire life talking like they're an addict or they're recovering. And I don't have anything against that. Everyone's journey is their own. But for me, it was like at a certain point, I just wanted to remove myself from that altogether and not have this like, that's not who I am.
Right.
I'm Evan Ballew, and I'm a man who has grown from that and become so many things outside of that.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to continue to try to like label myself.
Well, I can tell you from an outside perspective, man, that I know you've been open with me just, in the gym and talking and mentioning it. That's never been my perspective of you. And I don't think you ever shared the extent of, what you went through, but I can't say that that's how anybody else that I've ever talked to about you, that's how they view you. So,
I appreciate it.
I think it's one of those things, and I guess just going through like my own stuff and always thinking about this, I think it's really, when we talk about, I wanted everyone to know how bad I was hurting. I think it's such a bastard of a thing. And when I say that, in the sense of, I remember being a young adult, especially those years were like tough because, kind of similar to what you were saying, like I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was good at. I lacked those kind of like affirmations. And the most affirming thing I got was when I was telling people all the bad stuff that had happened. That was the most like, attention or like pause. Oh man, like people would, and I feel like so easy to then fall into that trap of like, this is the best. Oh, okay. Well, I get positive attention when I talk about these bad things, and it becomes super easy to like, you know, I know for me, it was like, I struggled a long time, and I know not everybody does, but like I struggled a long time with like that was my personality. Like that was 90% of who I was like telling people bad stuff about my life. And it's just like, you know, you start to realize that like, one, like that's not most people's favorite person to be around, you know what I mean? And it is tough. And so like, again, I applaud you in all of this, because like that path of self-discovery is not an easy one. And finding those things, because it's also so much of a guessing game too, of like finding what you like and what you're good at and really trying to figure out who you are. And I'm so happy to hear that, you know, like turning yourself over and finding God through this is like such a powerful thing too. A couple of Sundays ago, church I go to, one of our associate pastors, his name's Caleb, gave a sermon, and it has stuck in my mind so hard, and I will probably cry just telling this, but one of the things that he was talking about was he is a teacher at one of the Christian schools. I'm not sure which one it was, but they were doing a service through school, and they were worshiping, and there was this lady up on the balcony who was just hands in the air, screaming for the Lord, right? And there was a group of like 3 like high school boys who were kind of in the front, and they were all kind of looking up at her and kind of nudging each other and kind of laughing at her kind of thing. And I remember Caleb saying like, well, this might be the last day I teach here, because I'm about to beat these 3 boys up. You know what I mean? And then he said he had like a really powerful realization about like, one, that while these kids were being knuckleheads, but that like he found like peace and thankfulness in knowing that they hadn't experienced anything in life bad enough that made it so that they couldn't help but worship that way. Like when the music's going, her hands are in the air, that lady has been through something and has been saved by God. And when you see that, and you see how powerful that can be for people, where she's hands in the air, her and Jesus are having the time of their life, and like, you can just tell when someone's been through something, because they just can't help but worship that way. And it's just such a powerful message of like how powerful, and obviously religion's not for everybody, but like how powerful those things can be through really hard life choices and hard, you know, seasons of life. And so I was just thinking about that a lot, like how powerful it is when you do come across someone that just like can't help but worship because of how much God has changed their life.
Yeah. The impact, you can see it in their actions.
Yeah. It's amazing.
We've made it to that age where we recognize them. They're not just being weird. They have been through something.
Yeah, for real. For real. So obviously we have like the previous stuff of like addiction. When did you start getting into bodybuilding?
Bodybuilding came like 6 months after I got sober.
Oh, nice.
So I got sober from heroin, and about 6 months after, I just got in the gym and was like working on that, just getting healthy. It was like,
what gym are you going to?
Gold's Gym on Memorial.
Yeah.
Good gym.
Yeah. And I trying to, you know, get fit and, you know, healthy and get some sort of semblance of a normal life going. And then I think I just, I realized that I had some pretty decent genetics, and so I should do a bodybuilding show and just try and see how well I did. And then I wound up winning.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to do this again. And I wound up winning the second one.
Yeah.
So it was that was part of like what really hooked me into bodybuilding too, was doing well.
Yeah, of course.
I think.
Absolutely.
I think, there's a lot of people who don't do well and get just as hooked.
Yeah.
Just the same.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. started.
And you're in prep right now for a show, right?
I am. Yeah. So I'm currently 13 weeks out from the Oklahoma City Grand Prix, and then it would be 17 weeks out from nationals.
Hey,
Wow.
heck yeah. And when's the last time you competed?
Last time I competed was Junior USA's in 2018.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Long time coming out of retirement almost, man.
Almost. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. Yeah. I like I said, I did pretty well in my shows. And then, so I went to Junior USA's, to compete at the national level and see if I could do, how well I would do there. You get your pro card if you do well enough at the national level. And I wasn't expecting that when I did it. I wasn't expecting to do well at all. I was 22 years old, completely natural. I was pretty new in it, fairly new in it, 3 years or something. And then I wound up taking third, and the top two guys got their pro cards. So I was like, oh, wow,
Yeah.
Dang, you were sniffing a pro card.
Yeah. And then after that, I think it was like, I knew that I had to do better the next time I competed. And then the bar just kept getting pushed on what the expectation was of classic physique. And I had to push myself to new levels of what I was willing to do to be competitive. And then at a certain point, I needed to try to take a step back, or I felt like I needed to take a step back to focus on other career opportunities to support my family.
Sure.
And I did that. And it's a learning experience. I kind of wish I hadn't now, but you can't regret anything. And I learned a lot from that. And I grew a lot from taking I have extreme passion going into bodybuilding now, and drive that is new and I never had before. And a lot of that has come from feeling like I gave it up and had to. I felt like I had to, and I felt like it was like this, like you need to focus on the things that everyone else in their life has to focus on. At a certain point, you have to just accept life and do the things that like you have to do in life.
Yeah, get a real job.
Yeah. And so 5 months ago, quitting my job, my real job, and just jumping off and quitting it was like deciding like, no.
Yeah.
No. I mean, for the most part, a lot of people do have to do those normal things, but some people don't.
Right.
And it's making the decision that you don't that makes you that person.
Now, this is something we can really relate to because I think we both had that mindset of I don't want to get a normal job.
Yeah.
Like I want to work in the fitness industry, and I want to be able to recommend good supplements to good people. And like, we want to start a business around that. And so it's really cool to hear that you've taken that leap, man, and you're 5 months out. How's it going so far?
It's good. It's challenging. Yeah. Life is all over the place. There's a lot of new things throwing themselves at myself, a lot of new things that happening in life right now.
Yeah.
Life is always challenging. It's always something new. And I think a lot of the time when you're going in the right direction, you're going to feel not necessarily friction keeping you from going in that direction. Because if you have friction keeping you from going that direction, maybe it's not the right direction. Right. But you're going to have a lot of challenges nonetheless when you're going the right direction.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, it's been tough, but it's also consistently felt like I'm moving in the right direction. And I think that was a big part of what I got, one of the blessings I got in getting sober, and that becoming or making myself like helpless, or admitting my helplessness to God in that time was learning to trust God and learning to trust that intuitive connection, the like sometimes your gut, your heart, that spiritual like calling or feeling like you're doing the right thing. Like sometimes you just have to go with that. You really do. And sometimes you have to let it fuel you, because whatever you're telling yourself and this self-disbelief or whatever, it can fight against that. But you just lean into that.
I imagine too, going through like recovery and everything, I imagine that probably gives you kind of a feeling of like a second chance, a new lease on life kind of thing, that I feel like would probably like, push you in like, hey, I want to have the life I want to have.
Absolutely. There's been back and forward there's been like the new lease on life and feeling like, like I have extreme gratitude for the gift of like the second chance and all these things. And I need to really like hold this thing that's sensitive and nurture it and take care of it. But then going to the complete opposite side of it, which is bodybuilding in a lot of ways, it's like, well, I also want to do this thing that is going to have a lot of risks to it, and maybe take a couple years off of my life in this way or that one. But if I didn't do it, then I would sit there with that feeling that I never did the thing that I probably should have done. That's probably going to take more time off my life than anything else.
Yeah.
And have a lot more risks to it than I'm taking going into here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
That's, has your perspective changed at all since becoming a father with that?
Yes and no. And it's been back and forward the same.
Okay.
The importance to take care, be around, those things are there, but there's also just a newfound drive to like be the example of what you can do, and like to not just necessarily be like held and suffocated by what the boundaries of what society says you're supposed to be or supposed to do. Yeah. It's been really challenging with my family lately because like, I know that a lot of them believe in me and they believe in my vision, but they don't necessarily see my vision. And they don't understand the whole, like turning the fitness industry and being a bodybuilder and a coach and a trainer. And you have to diversify your income in a lot of ways. And so that no one in my family's ever done that. It's kind of this new thing that a lot of people are just now learning how to do. So it's hard for them to relate to it anyways.
Yeah. Both of my parents, went to college, got a degree, got a salary job, and they grew up in a generation where that's how you became successful, right? So when I dropped out of college and started working in a supplement store,
what a loser!
It was a tough conversation. I was like, "Mom, I'm making $8 an hour."
Right? I don't think you understand the potential here.
So you dropped out of college to make $8.
Yeah. I'm like, "Mom, I'm going to own my own business one day." And I'm like, okay. So maybe a little bit of why we're here is trying to prove my parents wrong.
Hey, we'll take it.
That's a really good fuel.
Yeah, for sure.
And and not in a like a vindictive way either, but
not at all. You would be grateful for that at this point too, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely a lot of we went through some phases of one, them just purely trying to talk me out of it. Two, understanding, seeing that I was enjoying what I was doing a lot and how hard I was working at towards something, but still not fully believing in the vision. And then when we finally moved to Oklahoma City and opened our own store, that's when it was like, okay, like he's committed to doing something crazy. So that's awesome. At least he's committed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably like them seeing your enjoyment through the struggle that really helped them to see like, oh, yeah. Like even if it just continues to be like difficult, he's going to enjoy that more than the regular life.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
And I think that's where it can be hard too, because, whether it's family or people who are just close, it's always, and understandably so. It's the questions are, I remember, I was working at the hospital and had like what could be considered a career opportunity kind of thing. And it was like an eye-opening thing, and not to insult anybody who had said this to me, because I didn't take it that way, but like it always blew my mind how many people asked like, oh, is Triad going to be paying you the same? And not like, are you going to be happier there? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, that is like something that I understand, especially like with an older generation too, where it's like that's just so against the norm. But it is, like if you're going to own a business, like work for one until you can afford to buy it from them. Like, it's like that was kind of always the mentality, I feel like, or just like work your way into it. And it was like, bro, I talk about the Sunday scaries. Like I was like from the moment I woke up on Sunday, I was already dreading work on Monday. Just, I got to go back. I got to do this. And it's like, I'm sorry. Like I remember just like thinking about it one day. Cause I went definitely from the extreme. Like I was being offered a promotion and could move pretty much anywhere I wanted in the country. And I'm like, I'm actually going to take a $40,000 pay cut and go back to working at a supplement store kind of thing. But it was like if for nothing else, I was so unhealthy when I was working that job because it was like a super sedentary job. I was sitting at a computer all day, like typing away and sure I made good money and like, whatever. But man, there's nothing like you kind of similar to what you were talking about of like, yeah, I had security, I guess. And yeah, this is a risk, I guess, but it's like, boy, I can tell you like which one I would have died sooner at. Like it was the one where I was walking 400 steps a day, like, and being so exhausted from staring at a computer screen and dealing with hundreds of people, doing what I was doing, and everyone's stressed and no one's happy and no one wants to be helpful and everything is just negative. And I'm like, funny that I like my blood pressure's 1,000 over 900, obviously that wasn't it, but like my, like, no wonder I have 40 pounds to lose. No wonder I'm miserable and exhausted. And like, I can't even get to the gym after work. Cause I just like, I can't think about anything but getting home and like crashing onto the couch. Like, and so it's like such an interesting thing. Cause it's like, I'm happier, I'm healthier. Like there's so many positive things that I get to influence on not just my own life, but other people's lives. And it's like, yeah, money's important and I get it, but like, why is like none of those other factors I feel like get asked about enough just in general?
Really quick. That is really cool to hear you say that because you've been working your ass off recently here too, with like all the kids that work for us are going back to school and covering those hours and shifting things around. So would you still say that? All those things you just said, considering the last week.
So what have you been up to?
It's been a tough one, huh?
Yeah. No, it's been fine. But that's the thing is it's just like, boy, I'd much rather be stressed and fighting for something I fucking believe in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're working, we're building something.
Like, yeah, it's going to have its trials and tribulations, just like, like you were talking about, like that's even the right thing's still going to have some sandpaper to it. You know what I mean? It's not always just going to be smooth sailing, easy, happy, this is all great. Like there's still going to be trials and tribulations, but man, is it still easier to get up and go fight for something I believe in than like, man, another green square. Like, okay, cool. We did good. Like, it's just, I just couldn't live for that.
Yeah. I mean, you're obviously coming from working on wind turbines, right?
Yeah.
And getting to do fitness-based work, I assume all day long now. Yeah. Even being, a little diversified, I've got two questions. Has it been more stressful? Or less stressful?
Less stressful.
Okay.
Absolutely.
In what ways?
Stressful. I mean, a lot of ways. There was a daily amount of stress of being 300 feet up in the air. With a rotor that's hanging on the front of this 300-foot tower that weighs 144,000 pounds. And it throws blades off of it every once in a while. And they smack towers down. And so there's always like, you can do so much to be as safe as possible. But then there's also like something could happen and this tower could take itself down while I'm up here. Yeah. So just being up there every single day. And then dealing with, like electricity that is enough to kill you 10 times over and hydraulic pressure that, the hydraulic pressure is the one that people don't think about, because say you fire up this hydraulic equipment and there's a pinhole in the hose, and it, gets enough pressure to where that pinhole could fire hydraulic equipment or fluid into your arm. You get hydraulic injection, and then you have to get that like whole like area of tissue cut out.
Oh,
and
geez.
it's a lot worse than getting even just electrocuted by like something that
pressure's a freaking scary thing.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Even just like air tanks to me like freak me out.
Dude, I saw a guy one time, I forget where I was, but he was doing something, and he was like putting an air compressor, like he's like airing up a tire or something. And I watched him carry out this like, not a big one, like one of those little like drum ones. It's running. He's got it, and he just tosses it on the ground, and I'm like, oh, like, bro.
And
no,
the blue collar thing is great for a lot of people, but for me, the entire time I was trying to convince myself that I liked it, and that it was like, oh, I'm not in a cubicle, I'm outside, saying stuff like that or whatever. It's like, well, I get to work hard for my job or whatever, but just convincing myself, or trying to convince myself the whole time that it wasn't that bad. And then there were days where I climbed 70 pounds of equipment up a 300-foot tower and get, and work really hard. And then the end of the day, and I go home and I'm playing video games, and I just realized, I was like, I never even liked to play video games. And I was always in shape and exercising, and I was sitting there getting off work and getting some junk food to eat like the one meal that I ate that day because I was working so hard. I didn't eat the whole time.
Yeah.
And then playing video games. I don't even like video games.
Yeah.
It's killing time.
Yeah. It's like, how did I get to that place?
Yeah.
Such a like depression of like, it just wasn't me anymore.
Yeah.
It was just,
it is interesting though, like how, like, it's a funny parallel that I don't think I've like ever personally connected to, but until now, but the really like enjoying what I do for work, I have found that like I watch less TV. I don't play video game. I haven't turned my PlayStation on in 3 years. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, and not that there's anything wrong with those things. I like encourage people to have like hobbies and things that they do, but it is like a very interesting thing where a lot of those like escapism things that I was like feeding into, I just don't do anymore.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, cause for some people they're hobbies, but at least for me, they're
well,
tools
like for you,
of escapism.
You didn't even like video games and you were doing it.
Exactly.
Right.
I was just using it to escape.
Right.
It's been the same thing with TV for me.
Yeah.
My entire life growing up, the times when I was happy, I wasn't watching TV at all.
Yeah.
It was like I would just walk by it, never even think about it. But the times that I've been in like a depression or something, I'm a couch potato.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny because like my wife, like she's a TV hobbyist for sure. And so we joke about it because it's like, I'll let her watch whatever she wants and I'm like doing other things. But it's like, I found that like one of my favorite things to do though is to like go to the movies. Like I love doing like I won't sit. I can't, if she's not home, I will sit and start to turn something on and get bored and turn it off and like do something else. So it's like, it's so funny that like, but I do love going to the movies. I love like being immersed in it. Like that's a super cool thing. Cause that's like an experience for me. Where like just the day to day, like droning on of like watching TV or doing that kind of stuff. I just like, I don't know. I just have lost interest in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if Alyssa would agree with me on this, but when we have like evenings or even just like on the weekends when like Riley's like napping or something, and we like both sit like at the kitchen table and like pull our laptops out, and she's, working on some graphics because like she loves to work in like Photoshop and like with different things like that. And, I'm working on some different like marketing structure or something like, or tweaking different things. It's like, I've gotten to the point where I like really, really enjoy those times. And again, I believe that at least on some level, Alyssa likes that as well. I don't know if she would admit that as well, but I really enjoy that a lot.
Yeah.
So,
That's how it gets though. I feel like you're, I don't know. That's how I am too. Like whenever like Laurel's watching TV and she just loves TV. Like she just loves watching TV. It's not an
There's some
escape
people
thing.
that real
She's
enthusiasts.
a powerhouse TV enthusiast for sure. But yeah, that's usually me too. I'm usually like on my phone or my laptop or my iPad, like doing some kind of work, like getting something. Cause it's like, that's just like more interesting. I don't know. Like it's
like, you know, some people have like, I don't know, like little model like trains, you know, it's like, this is like my model train, it's like my project, you know, but it's like, it's also what I get to do for work kind of deal.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's cool.
You know, I'm going to go out on a way far limb here, right? You know what I think would be really fun? And, you know, you guys might laugh at me and that's fine. There's going to be some viewers who appreciate this. This is like a old school like thing, but because I don't like watch TV, because I like communicating in community and stuff like that a lot more. I'm going to say, I think playing Dungeons and Dragons would be fucking fun. I think it would be fun.
I've always thought that. And I've always like looked at the guys who like know all the lore and all the this and that. And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Dude, it looks so cool. Like this would be like I watched this video the other day, like popped up and it was like this girl was just taking, it was an actor, I forget who it was, but it was just like going through and like doing a like, let's do a little like play thing here. Like we'll do like, you'll be playing Dungeons and Dragons. And she's like, okay, you know, you step outside this tavern and there's this like the rat claw or something, you know, like some beast. And she's like, it's the guy from The Punisher. I can't think of what his name is. That's like the guy who was doing it. And he's just like, well, do I have any experience with those things? And she's like, well, let's roll and find out. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of cool though. Like there's kind of a cool aspect to this.
So
where you're
you
just
get
kind of making it up as you go.
Yeah, and you just ask questions.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay. And so like you literally just like, okay, there's this rat claw here. What do you do? And it's like, well, I pick up a rock and I throw it as hard as I can, hoping to hit its eye. And it's like, all right, let's roll. Like you rolled a 1, you hit it in the nuts, it came and bit you on the shoulder, right? Or like you rolled a 20, you hit it dead in the eye. And it's just like, now what happens? Like
my question with Dungeons and Dragons has always been like, okay, I have bodybuilding. That takes a certain level of obsession and a lot of minutia.
Yep.
How much of that does Dungeons and Dragons take?
Probably quite a bit.
Right. Do I have enough for bodybuilding and Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, right.
And
that's right. So this is
Can you just lightly get into Dungeons and Dragons?
I don't know. I don't know if there's
maybe it's like heroin.
There's just like there's very, very intense or none.
Maybe.
You know, this is what we got to do. We got to work Dungeons and Dragons into the gym somehow, right? So it's like, okay, you know, it's my set, so you're rolling, you know? And so we find some way to connect these things. Cause I'm with you. Like I tell people this and we talk about this ad nauseum. I feel like it's like, you're allowed to have like 5 things, period. And it's like, okay, I have a wife, I have a job, I do jujitsu, I eat and I sleep. And so that's about what I've got maxed out at this point. Like, I don't know if there's much more that I can fit in there where it's like, man, it's hard to find time to do anything, but man, I feel like it's like this, like if you were just like, all right, well, like guys on Wednesday nights at, 8 p.m., like the dice come rolling out. Like, I think like I would be there. I would find a way to be there.
So this time next Monday, the 3 of us, Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm down to try it.
A D&D pod. And it's like, fast forward like 6 months, we're like full cosplay. like
that's getting me hyped.
I'm with you,
thinking
dude.
about it. I would
totally
love to be a warlock or something.
Right. Like how soon? And here's the other thing too. Here's the thing again. No, and I'm sure this exists too. But if we got really into this and then we started doing cosplay as like 3 pretty big jack dudes, I feel like we could do some really cool cosplay because a lot of the times, I feel like people have to, make up for muscle they don't have when they're cosplaying these characters. Where it's like, I'd be a pretty sick Conan the Barbarian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bringing that natural.
That's right. Right. That's right. So we'll see you guys at Comic-Con. So.
Cosplay buddies?
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I'm not joking. I've been thinking about this this more than I should be. Of like, I think this would be really fun.
Do you know the game Warhammer? I think is. I got into that as a kid.
Yeah.
When I want to say when I was like maybe like 11, 12 years old.
Kevin, we're just joking. You got into Warhammer? What a nerd.
How into Warhammer? How into it?
Not enough. I honestly like. I always wanted to get into like. So like I bought like some of the players, which are so freaking expensive. It's crazy.
Like what they
like,
are now.
Yeah, dude. The margins of those things, like
inflation.
They're but. I always thought about that as a kid. I was like, there's not a big market for this, but like they're making their margins.
Yeah.
So,
that's what you thought as a kid.
Yes. I was thinking.
You were thinking in margins.
He was destined for
What's
business.
What's the gross margin on this?
He was destined for business.
I wasn't thinking that way, but it was at least like, these are like literally plastic and I have to paint them.
Yeah.
So like,
this is bullshit.
Yeah. It's like, they're so cheap. Like,
they have you doing the work too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I always envision, all right, maybe I'm sharing too much. You guys are already making fun of me.
No. Keep going.
I always had this dream when I was a kid that we would take a field trip to like a manufacturing plant and they'd be making these and I could just like, and they might like hook us up with like, oh yeah, like we're just like making these so you guys can have a couple of them kind of deal.
Childhood fantasies are so cool.
right. Like, especially that like the cost went into that too. It was like, they're expensive. I hope they give them to me for free.
Yeah, right. Like, wake up in the middle of the night. Where's my, it's a dream again. Dang it. I didn't go to the Warhammer 5000 factory. Sucks.
So, yeah, I got into it as a kid and I had like one or two friends that kind of got into it. But like, I think we were so young that like our attention span wasn't long enough and the games would last like so long that like we only played a handful of times. But I think if I would have had friends that were also as into it as I was, I think I would have I probably would have never found the gym, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I might
That
still
would have
be
been your thing.
I'd still be single. No girl would ever want to be with me.
Dude, you and your Warhammer.
So maybe we just keep you far away from Dungeons and Dragons.
No, hey, I've established all these other things already. Now I can just go full nerd.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, I'm saying like, I was thinking like, dude, I bet Chad and Vincent would be super into it.
Yep.
Trace for sure. Trace is probably playing Dungeons and Dragons right now. Just going through our like friend group now. And I'm like, these people would do this. Like we could, this could be a thing. We just got to find, it's going to sound kinky. We need to find an experienced dungeon master. All right. Not like the BDSM style. We just need like someone who knows their way around a dungeon that can lead us on our first journey.
you're just trying now.
It's what it's called, Kevin.
A dungeon master.
Yeah. So, we'll go get some. We need to stop by a comic book store or something and get some 20-sided die.
Yeah.
Are there? It's like multiple different die.
Yeah,
though,
there's
right?
like there's so much to it. Yeah, because you build a character and then it's like, your character can be like, I don't know, whatever you want it to be. I think depending upon the rule set you're playing.
So you could be like Thugtard the Toad Lord or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Dude, that was Kevin's AOL screen name when he was a kid.
How did I know?
Yeah, it's crazy. That was a crazy pull. But yeah, so it's like, and then you give yourself like different, I think you like have an allotment of like points and you can like, okay, I want to be like really persuasive, but I'm going to be, an idiot because I gave so much points to persuasion. So like I'm a hot idiot who like is very persuasive and charming, but we'll get into some trouble because of that. And then like you have all these different things and like abilities that you can select. And then it's like you in a group and your dungeon master is leading it. And then they take you on a journey and you come across all sorts of mishaps and things.
That has always been the crazy thing to me is like how like it doesn't seem like, at least from an outsider, it doesn't seem like there's like many like strict rules to it. It's like, well, then how do you play?
Right.
So.
Which is, I think, so think of it's like if you've ever played an RPG, but think of like an RPG that has like, it doesn't have to be programmed in. You can do whatever you want. And then because you're the dungeon master who's leading it is just creating what the reaction would be essentially. And so it's like, hey, if you do, this, you're like trying to persuade somebody and you roll a 2, it's not going to work out so well. And so it's like, it's a very interesting thing where like essentially you can do whatever you want.
I bet it's of high importance in keeping the peace in the dungeon that the dungeon master does not have any biases.
Yeah.
You gotta have an unbiased dungeon master.
Because you don't want
That's a good point.
you don't want a hectic dungeon.
Yeah, no, you don't want you don't want to owe money to your dungeon master.
You might not get out of the dungeon.
That's right. Man, we can wear leather. I don't know, guys. It's just an idea.
I'm actually like intrigued.
Dude, I'm telling you.
I'd play.
I know. But the thing is like
send an invite and I'm there.
Yeah, we will. If we sit down and play Dungeons and Dragons, you will get an invite.
I appreciate it.
this
I will be there.
is somebody listening to this who's an experienced DM, dungeon master.
DM. We're gonna start.
That's right. Hit us up and take us through. We'll set a game. I'm so down because it's like there's like videos online on YouTube. I mean, like who looks up people playing Dungeons and Dragons on YouTube? Definitely not me. Recently, like today, but dude, they're like 4-hour long videos where it's like, dude, you get into it.
Oh, wow.
There's like some like thing I saw where it was like, this is, I think what sparked it. I think I came across like a TikTok or something where it was like this one game of Dungeons and Dragons has been going on for like 35 years where it's like, they're all the same characters from when they started 35 years ago and they just like still meet weekly or whatever and like play. And it's just, those are the characters that they kept and they just like kept the fucking game going. Like, why not? You know?
See, that's really cool. And we started this off all talking about how community was like such an important thing. I mean,
full circle.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because, Clay Klein, been on the podcast. He's a police officer for Oklahoma City PD, runs Muscles and Mentors, which is on the south side of Oklahoma City, just south of downtown. And it's a gym that he runs in a community center that they've kind of converted into this. And it's traditionally for like at-risk youth to find the gym. And like, it's a mantra that I hear from him constantly. And it's so true. It's like, you're going to find your family somewhere. And it's, for him, it's like finding and helping to like give these people direction, but it's such a true thing, man. Like you find your community, like it's seriously like when it comes to like back even to like video games, like I never did too much of the video games with like the headset and the mic and stuff, but that was like, it's like a huge community thing where people are like, I had some friends, a roommate when I was in college. His name was Damon, super cool guy. And that was like his big community was like him and his friends, his buddies would play like, Call of Duty together. And it's like, they are like, you log on to your like Xbox or whatever. And it's just like, oh, who's on? Cool. Jump in the chat. Like you're literally just hanging out with your friends doing this activity together. It's just like, it's really no different. It's just like a different style of doing it.
No, and I'm glad that you mentioned that about the video games thing, because I don't want to sound like me saying that I never was into video games or anything, that I don't understand that thing that people get out of it, because the time when I was depressed and I was jumping on, it was those friends that I was jumping on to play with online that were a big part of that, helping me through that tough stuff that I was going through.
And Kevin had his Warhammer figurines.
Yeah. So, going back to, taking on this new,
we're done with Dungeons and Masters or Dungeon Masters and Dungeons and Dragons. I guess
we can come back if you want. Man, you kind of jumping full time into working for yourself now, man. You said you're less stressed. I know I have two more questions though. One, are you working more or less hours?
Well, it's like selective stress, really. Like there's definitely like more different types of stress. But those types of stress are less oxidative.
Yeah.
Right. So just like stressors on your body, you're always going to be dealing with certain stressors. It's just about how, they're going to affect your body or, your mentality or your emotions or whatever.
Are they fulfilling or not?
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So these new stresses are just a lot more fulfilling and meaningful. You know, it's like I'm blessed to be stressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been waking up and in this new phase of my life, and I've been just naturally drawn to be connected and to talk to God as I'm going to sleep and as I'm waking up.
Mm-hmm.
And as life has gotten more difficult, I've been drawn more into that. And since I made this choice of quitting my job and deciding to work for myself, life has gotten a lot more difficult for me.
Mm-hmm.
To not really put too many details or anything out there. I've been kind of out of my own home with a newborn son, just dealing with some tough stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, not to give any details or anything.
Sure.
But it's like I was saying, that like that connection to God and to be able to like trust and know that like in a lot of ways I'm going in the right direction. And, and that's a really good fuel. It's like life is hard and life is sad and it's tough and challenging in so many ways. But as long as you have that thing that's telling you you're going in the right direction, you're doing the right thing, then that's purpose.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think as guys too, I think there's a lot of fulfillment out of working towards a big goal too, or getting to work on a big project and not just clocking in and clocking out.
Mm-hmm.
So
a challenge and something that you like invest yourself into the challenge.
Yeah.
Then you start to like make yourself the thing or the person that rises to that challenge, the person you have to be to succumb to, or not succumb to, but to rise to that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have to change yourself. And so you have to accept the challenge.
100%.
And there's something so like wonderful too of like building or working towards something and it's seeing it pay off or it becomes successful and seeing the fingerprints of yourself like on it. Like that's such a rewarding thing too, of it's just like, oh, like we've seen success in X, Y, and Z. And like, I can see, especially for us, I think it's a really cool where it's like you and I come up with an idea and Alyssa comes in and fixes where we fall short. And then we see this thing, and then Ryan or Preston or whoever like puts it, and it's like, you get to see this like culmination of like a bunch of people I really care about, who I really respect their opinion and like in what we're doing. And then you see it like this, like, this thing like has come together from this like culmination of people, or even like doing it on your own or whatever. It's like, and you get to see that, and you get to see all the fingerprints that like equal that. And it's like, there's something just so rewarding to look at that and be like, and now this is just part of what we do. And we see the success and the benefits from it. Mm-hmm. Like, there's just something like super cool about that. That like, I don't know, you can't like take away.
Yeah.
That actually made me think of something random, kind of random, but like, I mean, what you're talking about there with the fingerprints and stuff, and that's with bodybuilding, something that I've been really like trying to figure out what I have to offer to people that's a little bit different from a lot of other like outlooks or perspectives on bodybuilding that have been taken for a long period of time, is like, bodybuilding's hardcore. It is, but I think a thing that keeps a lot of people away from as much success in bodybuilding as they could have, or even just away from bodybuilding altogether when they could be involved or even just trying it out, is that it's always this all right, you're on prep, and prep is like this huge hardcore thing. It's time to change everything about your life, and it's time to do it all for a period of time so that you can get to this goal and then see what happens and comes from that. And then what after? Well, who knows, but the real way to go into bodybuilding is not with a prep. It's not with this like singular preparation for a show. It's to start living the lifestyle. And that way, once you start living the lifestyle, I mean, there's a lot of disordered eating and stresses and things that come out of a prep. But if you live the lifestyle and then you slowly hone and sharpen the edge of that lifestyle into the blade that is doing a show, then it's a lot easier. You don't have to have this like black and white. It's like, it's just this gradual, like, this is just what I do.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it really, really well for a shorter period of time.
Yeah. I think Marcus Wade I think is who I heard this from, and it made a lot of sense to me that the week before prep starts and the week after a prep starts shouldn't look that much different.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think like it's such a valuable thing too that you point out is the disordered eating and things that can come from this. Like there's how many stories of people that I know who started a prep and maybe even got a decent way through it, and then especially a first one, and then they get hurt. And then they're like, well, I got hurt, so I don't need a coach. Then they get rid of their coach, and then don't do a reverse diet. Don't do a reverse diet. And it's that black and white mentality. Well, now the goal that you've been putting all this effort's now shattered in like your perspective, because that was the goal, not the lifestyle change. That was like, I had a finish line and that finish line just got tore up. Well, screw it now. And then no reverse diet. And people typically start to eat worse potentially even than they were before. And
Dude,
it's just
food
like,
tastes so good at that moment.
And it's like, well, and think like the fucking brain chemicals, like the serotonin response and dopamine response from a fucking Chick-fil-A sandwich will blow your pants off. You know what I mean? Like
it will.
Like it's like, but it's crazy. And then it's like, how do you and then even people who get all the way through the prep and get on stage and still struggle like after that, where it's like, oh, like you went through all of this, and this just all reminded me, Laurel and I have been watching, and I don't know if you guys have watched at all. One show I have watched recently is there's a documentary about The Biggest Loser, and it's going through like what they were actually having these people do. And there's a bunch of interviews, and the thing that it like pretty drastically points out is that everybody's back overweight by like quite a bit.
Yeah.
And like one of the things that they touched on a little bit, which I wish they would touch on more, because I do think it's like a super important thing, is they just fucking crushed these people's metabolism. And then you won or you got kicked out by no help, no nothing. And they were, like literally, this is like the most, you would not believe this, but this like people lose like, literally there was a guy who lost like 275 pounds in like 6 months and 2 days or something like that. Right.
Jeez.
And he was like 475 and ended at like 198 right in 6 months. 800 calories a day. 800 calories a day. And he was explaining that you are working out. You live on the ranch. You are working out 7 to 8 hours a day. The minimum amount of calories they want you to burn on like your activity tracker per day was 6,000 active calories. As people who have competed in bodybuilding, I never have, you two have. What the fuck?
I've never been that low calorie, and I've never
been that high expenditure.
Not even close.
Dude, it's like they talk about this one girl almost died from rhabdo.
Oh, yeah.
Like, duh. Like, what are you? And the thing is like they hired, and he's actually like pretty cool and was trying to like do some change, but they didn't listen to him very much. But they like hire an old like NFL doctor who like got hired because he was like a D1 national champion wrestler. And they were like, you ever played hurt? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, cool, you're hired. And like dude, it's crazy. One of the things that almost killed this lady, because it's a psychotic thought that it clearly came from like two fit people who don't understand what like unfit people are capable of doing in any way. It was like, okay, you weigh 470 pounds, right? If you want to be on The Biggest Loser, they're all on it, and they like get off the bus and they were like, run a mile on the beach. And if you don't make it to the finish line, you don't get to be on the show. And this lady almost died from rhabdo because she's 400 pounds. Like people, it's like, oh, you drastically are underestimating how hard it is to run a mile. That shit's not easy. for any of us right now to go run a mile, maybe you, I don't know. That's not an easy thing to just like up and do.
The beach makes every step like 2 steps.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
So that's like 2 miles.
It's like running a mile in the sand at 400 plus pounds after being
and not prepared to do it at all.
not at all.
Yeah.
And also like these people are clearly not coming from an active lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
That's emotional abuse too.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
I'm sure it was just like, it's not about like how fast you're going to do it. We don't need in shape people to join this show. It's how hard are you willing to work? I'm
right.
sure.
And so that was the thing was like, they were like, can somebody who is, 250 pounds overweight train like they're a professional athlete and survive and be on 800 calories?
Well, I would never put together that plan and think it was sustainable.
Oh,
Yeah.
So like that just tells me that there was never an idea in their minds that it was going to be a sustainable thing. It was literally like, let's get these cattle into this,
Right.
They use those people.
Yeah.
That's dark.
There's no
It's dark.
reverse diet help after 6 months of 800 calories a day. And like, dude, it goes into a lot of where they were doing definitely like psychological abuse and like temptation stuff that was really messed up.
Well,
they were like, here's a whole plate of donuts, you still have to burn so many calories today, but if you eat this whole plate of donuts, you get to call your family. It's like, what are they in Guantanamo Bay? What's happening? Like this is, bro, bananas.
Here's another example of the use of something that can make somebody seem like their life is getting better, but then you can profit off of it, and it's GLP-1. And it's very tough thing to talk about right now. A lot of people are like really on board with it and whatnot.
It's a polarized topic.
Yeah, it's because it's like, okay, it can help to regulate your blood sugar if you're like in an emergency situation. Well, yeah, that's great. That's what it should be used for.
Right.
But not to do that so that you don't have to eat a proper nutritional diet, cycle your carbs on and off so that you can build real insulin sensitivity over a period of time.
Right.
There's ways to do these things naturally, and that is used for an emergency case scenario, but not to just cheat the system. And it's like,
not for someone that just can't stick to a plan.
well, yeah, but now it's being thrown because of the money that it can make, and also because it's a tool that it works really well for a lot of people too, to just like they can throw it at somebody, they can help them get the results really fast. It looks great. But nobody even really knows long term at this point still. And I think it's one of those things where it's like if there's a natural, more difficult way of getting to that, then it's probably going to be the more sustainable and long term goal.
Right. And that's the thing that's like, that's the thing that's tough is like, I understand from like a sociological aspect or just like a human aspect of like why somebody would go and do that, if they're like really desperate and they're really seeking. And the thing that's really tough, and I think like where my issue like can fall with stuff like this is when, and I don't think that there's like many malicious people in the world, right? Gotta hope for that. But it's like, you'd wish, like even to draw a parallel, like I think TRT is a really interesting parallel that kind of falls into this too, where like, again, I don't want to say there's like malicious or ones that don't care, because I'm sure they got into the field of becoming a doctor to care. But when like the misinformation and the actual help that can be done is like, it's the expectation of what the help that can be done with this is here, and the follow through for some people is here, is like really tough to watch, right? Because we have people who come in all the time and they're like, oh yeah, I'm on TRT, and I'm like, oh man, how's that going? And they're like, I don't know, like, and just like breaking it down and talking to them, and I'm like, okay, and we'll get like specific if they're willing to, and it's just like, yeah, I get 100 milligrams of testosterone cypionate the first of every month. I get my one shot a month, and I'm like,
That's not
how that works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think, and it's just whether it's a misunderstanding, or like maybe a certain provider didn't take the time to like learn and understand like what's going on. But it's like at some point, and I've never been in that position, but I feel like it's like someone's responsibility to do the due diligence of like figuring this out. Because that's the thing we've seen a lot with the GLP-1 stuff is like it can be a tool, but when it's not being used as a tool, it's being used as the everything. It can be dangerous and really tough because it's like, in a perfect world, there is, I'm sure, a use for that is as a tool along with proper nutrition and along with proper weight training, especially with like the loss of muscle mass that people can see from it. And it's like, well, if we held up all the ends of the bargain, like this actually could be a useful tool, but we only do the first of 9 steps that people will actually see the long-term benefit from this. And we just throw the first one at them and say like, good luck.
Yeah.
Like this is going to help. And then they see results, whether it's good or bad. And it's like, then they kind of just run with it. And it's like, man, like there's one case where this guy, like, he was getting 1 shot a month for testosterone and his doctor was only ever doing blood tests on him the week he got a shot. So he get a shot on Monday and get his test on get his blood test on Thursday. And she'd be like, looks great. And it's like, yeah, that's it does.
Yeah.
Right. Like, why don't you check in 2 weeks? Why don't you check it 3 days before you give him an injection? And then let's look. And he went back and got that. And his testosterone, 3 days before his injection came back and it was 84.
Yeah, realistically, it needs to be like even more diversified for that on a person to person basis because everybody's going to metabolize that testosterone differently.
Right.
So like, the 100 to him is going to set him at a baseline of this, or this, but somebody else is going to metabolize that 100 different.
Right.
Yeah, so even the blood
half-life alone, like you're so this is not lasting you a month, dude. Yeah. Like it's just crazy.
What I hate more in I think in the whole push and script type industry is then misinformation is the malinformation or it's like saying the wrong thing to keep, it's almost like just keep you ignorant.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then that's just hoping that it's not going to affect you negatively too bad.
Look at the supplement industry for so long. That was what the supplement industry for years survived on was just but this creatine's cryogenically frozen. Right. So it's going to promote 85 or 88, 850% better results based off of our in-house testing. Yeah. And so this creatine monohydrate that's cryogenically frozen in orange flavored is $87.
It's also eaten by a capuchin monkey and then shit out. And that makes it even better.
Right. And that was it when you saw getting into the weeds here for a second on supplement stuff, but it was amino spiking, taurine spiking, where it was just oh, hey, by the way, your protein's not even protein. It's just taurine powder and cool. Great. This is for nothing. And luckily we've seen a big swing in that in our industry of where education, whether people have, I think what has happened is people have taken the due diligence on themselves, and especially with social media and things, so I'm going to get educated. And for us, it's a huge part of educating.
There's also a higher standard too that's being held. It's scientific nuances of what's actually being what's on the label is actually what's in there.
Oh yeah.
When you're dealing with bodybuilding or stuff, it might not make a huge difference in a short period of time, that small little difference, but over a long period of time, it's going to make a huge difference.
Compound.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think I feel like we went through a period of time where it got cool or almost fun to get really sciencey with supplements. Right. And I don't know who exactly to give credit to, but I feel like one person that did kind of push this, and I hate to give credit here, but probably deserves it is Jim Stepani.
I was just going to say that. Yep.
Yeah.
But for real,
he was a doctor. You know, he made good stuff.
Yeah. He was a big post-workout carb guy. Like a lot of those things that like were, you know, and like was somebody who again, like was kind of like, this is all like looking at everything. This is all bullshit, guys. Like, what? Like, what is this? Like
the products were pretty cut and dry,
full
simple
disclosure, efficacious doses. I think I really started something, honestly. And I don't know that his products are as nearly as popular as they used to be because I think everybody caught on. Everyone in the industry either adapted or went out of business because those companies that were, you know, cutting corners and knew nobody knew, now all the consumers know. So I have one funny story that I bring up every once in a while. That's I don't think they could get away with this anymore, but obviously for like protein, like to increase the amount of like protein that like shows in a protein powder is just throw a bunch of taurine in. It's really inexpensive. It spikes the the amino rating or whatever. Yeah. What's a technical term?
Yeah, because it's like they essentially aren't testing for protein. They're testing for amino acid ratios. And so it's just like they just send an electrical impulse that like pings back off of the amino acid. So anything that it's amino acid counts, and then they just total it for protein content.
So this was probably probably more than 10 years ago, but I was at Walmart and I was walking through the supplement section in Walmart and I happened to see a tub of protein and I was just kind of looking at it and the, on the label, I have a picture of it somewhere. I'd have to dig and find it, but right on the front of it, it said enhanced with taurine. And I'm like, nobody knows. Nobody knows.
And they're telling you right here.
Right. Like they're like, you're a fucking idiot. But we're saying it in gibberish or you don't understand.
Yeah. Well, and there was like this thing where, you know, like everybody, understandably so, right? Like if it's a big popular whatever in any industry, you're like, well, they got there somehow. Nike has to make good shoes. They got there somehow, you know, like kind of mindset, right. Which is totally understandable as a consumer. But it was, I won't name on air, but there was a product that was a proprietary blend that I don't remember how this set of people got a hold of it. We were the set of people, but it was a breakdown. They were amino acid tablets, like chewables, right? Little like Necco wafer looking thingies. And it was the actual breakdown of the proprietary blend, like of how much each amino acid were in like the amino Necco wafer things. So your traditional amino acid product has about like a quality one has about 6 grams of, you know, like BCAAs, typically 3 grams of leucine, 1.5 iso, leucine, 1.5 valine, right? That's a good ratio. That's like what we're looking for usually. The serving size on said wafers was 4 wafers was like how many you were supposed to eat as a serving. Guess, you probably...
I think I remember.
Yeah. So you'll have to guess how many of those wafers you needed to eat to actually equal like the 3 grams, 1.5. So that's 6 grams of aminos. 10 wafers. That is close. You had to eat 265 containers.
Wait, so what were the wafers even made out of?
Nothing, just filler. It was literally
inositol,
like it was
flavor.
Yeah, like it was literally just like orange flavoring. You know, I'm sure some sweetener, and then like rice flour, and like literally, they were like nothing. When it came to actual, like,
I think the ratio is still 2 to 1 to 1.
2-1-1 ratios. It probably was. And so they could put it on the front, but it was literally like, oh man, like this is nothing. Like I'd probably get more amino acids out of like, I don't know, eating dirt. Like this is crazy. Yeah. And the problem is that was one of, I don't want to say still is, but one of the largest supplement companies you've ever heard of. 1,000%. Wow. You will 1,000% know the brand.
Yeah.
It was at this time. It was the Nike, Adidas, Under Armour of supplement
nutrition.
We can't confirm or deny.
Who knows? Honestly, you know, I don't even remember who it was. But I mean, I think it just like goes to show that like
gold standard.
Yeah. That this was total BS, man. Like this was nothing. And they just played off of like the fact that like they could get away with it. And they did for years. You know what I mean? And so luckily, I think, hopefully, right? I think that that's the way we'll see maybe some of those things go, like the GLP-1s, tier T, where people, I already feel like, you know, like a good example was that guy I was talking about, talked to his doctor, and his doctor was like, I guess that's a good point. I never thought about that. Let me look into this more, and ended up coming back like a month later and gotten pellets, and which was like and he's like, I feel so much better. And I'm like, oh, that's great, man. Like, I'm so happy that, you know, cause it was just like, didn't even realize that was gonna be such an easier option for him. You know what I mean? And something that was going to make sense, at least for him. And even if that's not perfect, we're 90% better than where we were of that once a month shot kind of thing. Like it's so, you just hope that the due diligence of like figuring out how to take care of our bodies and stuff like that, we just have to, you start to realize the more and more, I think, like I've gotten older and I've gotten into this and, you know, seeing like the medical side of things too, where it's just like, you got to take care of yourself. Like you got to figure out how to take care of yourself.
Well, like as somebody who's really like, if you are really going to have an influence on somebody's life and like affecting like their health and their ability to take care of themselves, it's not going to come from throwing a drug at them or telling them what to do. It's going to come from building a relationship with them to where they trust what you're saying and they believe in what you're saying, and that like they're going to start to integrate these things that they see you doing as a leader, because you lead by example. Right. And it's like, oh, he does this. That's why I'm going to start to integrate it in my life. It's it's never the drug or do this. Right. You know, and drugs are great and they can work for things, but
but
get overused.
Yeah, for sure. Where it's just like, again, like, and you know, like I get that this isn't going to apply to everybody, and I don't mean it to, but it's like, the GLP-1s and stuff like that can be great. And I'm sure there are people who it like makes sense for, but it's like, you know what would work even better? 10,000 steps a day. And maybe that if it's something that's needed, but like, man, like you go out and walk 10,000 steps a day. It's like, it's crazy how much that can change like your health just in general, or like any sort of thing like that. Doesn't have to be that specifically.
It needs to be just as much of a commitment to, okay, you need to use this GLP-1. Well, if you're going to use it, then you need to commit to going to these classes to learn about how to maximize your insulin sensitivity. Right. You know, it's like if you want to, you should have to earn that thing by way of showing that you're going to learn.
Try the, step 1 through 8 first. All the things that aren't going to have long-term side effects are at least potentially won't have long-term side effects. The 10,000 steps, the, carb cycling, and even things and all those things, even things like carb cycling may sound like crazy, like hard to do, but it's like, it doesn't have to be done to the extent of a bodybuilder. It can be done at a much more regulated level for the everyday person. So try those things first. They take more work, which is why a lot of people don't want to do them. But try the things that don't have long-term side effects first.
It takes more work, and that's where I think it's so important to like building that relationship with somebody for them to like want to do the work rather than the drug. Because it's instilling that, like, not necessarily even just self-belief, but like that importance in doing the thing rather than taking the drug. It's like, I know that that's the easier, better way, but hear me out, like, and trust me, Like,
one of the things I've always kind of like joked about, but I do genuinely feel this way is like, I'm very thankful that the requirement for steroids in most cases is a needle, right? Like the barrier to entry is like, if I'm going to stab myself with this, like I'm probably going to hopefully learn a little bit about it. Like if somebody's going to do that, it's like the barrier to entry is not just as easy as like, oh, take a pill or like whatever, where it's like, there's actually, okay, I got to kind of figure out how to do this. And it like almost naturally increases your own like level of having to understand. And I know that's not everybody, but like
not everybody.
Yeah, but you hope that it like, you know, that barrier to entry, it's like a little bit harder to do. And so people
Makes
aren't
you second guess it all.
Yeah, they're not as like willy nilly to just jump to it. You know what I mean? Cause that is like at least a bit of a scary barrier to entry.
There's still a lot of those jumpers out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully just a few less.
Yeah. What, okay. So we're training and everything. Is there a specific place? I'm not sure. Is there anywhere you're training out of right now?
Rep Republic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's a great place, man.
It's been awesome.
It's such a sick gym.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do their posing clinics as well.
Very nice.
I saw you got involved with that. Those have been big, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Matt Delaney's an awesome man.
Yeah. He is. He's also been on the podcast. So.
Just been like really developing my relationship with him recently. And it's one of those that I feel just an innate connection to him. I feel like he's been able to make himself vulnerable with me and myself the same. And I really trust and love that.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, makes you feel more comfortable with somebody, I think, when you
absolutely
open up and you know, it shows me that he's trusting me to not like use some of these things or whatever.
Right.
And so it's
against
like,
him,
I want to give that same trust. And now, you know, we're developing this relationship.
That's
really
awesome.
cool.
He's a really good dude.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Really good guy, period.
You doing any online stuff, all in person or
Online and in person.
Nice.
Yep. And it's and I do the posing as well. That's online and in person.
Yeah.
So via FaceTime or Skype or whatever.
Very cool, man.
Yeah, whatever works best.
You building I know we were talking a little bit before the podcast, and you know, you kind of talked about just jumping into it without too much of a plan, which is, I think anybody that's self-employed is, I heard it described this way one time, is that starting a business of any kind is like jumping off a cliff and then trying to figure out how to build an airplane on the way down. Are you finding any structure to it at all, or?
Yeah, creating my own structure. And I've always that's been something that I've always really loved to obsess over and nerded out, is creating like a system, creating my own systems. I like systems. Even in my home and the way that I do things in my home, it really throws me off sometimes when people mess with my systems.
We're big systems guys.
Engineer. I wish, really, but and so building the systems, and then also like I found myself from time to time getting too overwhelming myself with trying to do too much with it. I think like trying to, it's all about like, for me, I think there's great importance in having the diversified income in this place that I'm going right now. And, not just the coaching, not just the training, not just the posing, but multiple things. And so in the beginning, it was like throwing shit at the wall just to see what could stick, you know, and a lot of shit got thrown.
We're still there a little bit.
Right. But you probably should never stop being there in some ways.
That is a big lesson that we've learned this year.
And so it was like, am I going to try to do this, like this merch line for myself? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? And so still playing with some things, but you know, I love it. It's fun. If I feel like I'm creating something in a system, that's what's making me happy. We're not everyone, but we are definitely meant to be creators.
That was very much. So I made a big post about this last week, actually, and a kind of a big realization that I think at least I've had, and I think other members of the team have had, that in the beginning we started with, you know, jumping off this cliff, and we thought we knew, you know, we had this airplane built. Come to find out, we're like pretty much straight falling down. So no customers coming in the door, open for 12 hours, not a single person coming in, kind of days. And so we started throwing all of the shit that we could find against the wall and anything that was, little or no cost up against the wall to see what stuck. And no joke, we probably tried 1,000 different things, like not even exaggerating. Like we were trying multiple things every single week, year after year after year after year. And we found like 3 things that stuck and have worked for us and have done really well. That's been the big lesson this year is learning that like we shouldn't stop throwing shit at the wall.
Yeah.
We are much more calculated about it now. We're smarter about what we're throwing, where we're throwing it. But it's still 9 out of 10 things don't stick. And we just got to keep going. Like, cause like we're doing well, we're doing better than we did last year as a whole. But I mean, if we want to continue to grow at the pace that we were, or even want to, we got to keep throwing. So the thing that you brought up, to tie it back to what you brought up earlier, is I think the thing, especially early on when like so many of the things that we tried weren't working, especially within our marketing efforts, just to get people in the door. We had our customer experience pretty figured out. There's definitely been some improvements there and more systems built, especially with getting bigger, but like with figuring out things to get people in the door with so much of it not sticking, that to me was never discouraging. The thing that was discouraging was when we ran out of things to try. It was as long as we had another thing coming down the pipeline that we're going to try out, or another idea that as soon as we get time, we're going to try that out. As like, I was still very committed, very motivated, and excited about the future, even though we were, coming on, 2 years of business and like nobody's paid theirself anything, and we're working at least 40 hours a week, if not more. So it was like, as long as we had something else to try to get this thing going was where I was able to keep myself going. So.
Yeah. That's like that. Yeah. Something new to try and something new to just keep trying.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that being a really big driving force.
Yeah.
We did a thing where we like, from time to time when it's just Kevin and I, we'll do like questions, we'll post on social media, like looking for questions for people to ask. And it was like, what's some advice or something, like what's something for somebody who wants to start a business? And I think like our collective answer was kind of like, fall in love with creating the systems that allow your thing to run. Like if you can fall in love with the processes of your business, the systems, the implementation, like all those kind of things, it is like, then you're good. Like that's like, cause if you can love that and like be excited to dedicate time to that, then it's hard to fail, because that's how you create these pipelines of things that are continuously coming, because you have a system that pumps them out. And so it's like, it's not always easy, but if you don't love that aspect of it, it's just hard for me to have an understanding how people make it, because it's like, if you're not like enjoying those things, then it's like, well, I don't know how, like, you're gonna, like the first thing's not gonna stick. If it does, that's incredible. But like you said, like you tried thousands of things, like literally always trying something new. And it's like, yeah, if it out that drive, like we're not here. I would definitely find myself like, that's when I would get like really down about the business, or like almost even depressed, was like, and really start to feel like we're going nowhere, was when we didn't have something to try. Like numbers didn't really have too much of an effect on that. They can, and that's probably why I don't watch them super closely. Because Thomas knows not to tell me what the numbers are during certain periods of time, because it has way too much of a mental effect on me. That even month after month, when it's just like, we hit 3 years in, and we did, I think it was like February, we had done worse than we did the February before. So we've been working for a year and we did worse, but that didn't have too much of an effect on me, because we had other things we were going to try. It's like, but I think this could really turn things around. Right. And like most of the time it didn't, but like there was still a chance. So
That's crazy. My brain sometimes makes weird connections. But what you're talking about here, and you're talking about like that, the drive from like always having something new and designing the systems and falling in love with that. I'm thinking about like other engineers, other people who design systems. My brother's a software engineer and he writes code. And so when you're writing code, it's like writing a song or playing a song. It's like, boop, 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 boop. It's like, okay, well, that's not right there. Boop. It should go boop, 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 boop. And then you just keep going through that to keep trying. And then boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
It's like boop, 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 boop. But so you just keep going through that code or that system or that song that you're writing. But as long as you keep having that next note to keep like figuring out what's next, that's what's driving you. And it's that system. It's just, that was a weird connection. That
No, it makes sense though. Like
it's the engineer, whether you're in music, you're in code, or you're in designing a system for a supplement store. It's all the same. It's that next thing that keeps you going.
That you get to, after 8 hours of work, you get to like finally go back through and like take a step back, listen to that song. And it's 30 seconds of an actual song. And you're like, oh shit, like this is awesome. Like that to me is always so fulfilling.
Yeah. You spent the whole day working on that 30 seconds because it was going back and forward through that. But, Yeah.
And you are so hyper focused on one thing over and over again. But yeah, getting to watch it, just take a step back. That's super rewarding.
Yeah.
So,
that's probably directly what like somebody who carves like something out of marble.
It's
just these little tinks and then
dude, that would make me so nervous. I feel like I would get too far. Like I'm sure it's not as strict as I'm probably imagining it, but it's like, okay, like the statue of David, right? It's like, what if like, I'm carving out his leg and I accidentally just get too far? Is it all screwed now?
Yeah.
Like, yes,
probably. That's why he's got a little pee-pee. It broke off.
It was meant to be bigger.
He just an errant chip.
The one mistake.
He's like, shit. Well, all right. I've already done all this. Like, we're all small back then. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah. Great genetics, all but for one thing back then.
Right. Yeah. So, that's probably what happened.
What was that? Wasn't there like an argument one time that was like, for like everybody that was like preaching, better dieting habits or better supplements. I think it was probably more supplement related, but there was like an argument one time. I can't remember if it was like
I wasn't sure where you were going with that after we were talking about little peepees. And so then I was like really interested. I'm like, was there an argument back when? It's like, all right, Kev, here we go.
Not a PP argument, but it was, the people of like ancient Greece, they didn't take supplements and they were jacked. It's like, okay, they didn't all look like the statue of David. So
right.
It's like,
that is an interesting thing to think about though. Because we don't know what everybody like looked like.
Maybe they did, I guess.
But I mean, like there's like definitely like genetic sides of that kind of stuff too. Like I talk about all the time. Like I hold muscle tissue better than I should. Like I don't lose muscle tissue like at a rate that is fair compared to most people. Like I understand that I have a genetic blessing in that, where it's like I can have like the stomach flu and like eat nothing for 5 days and it'd be like, you gained 1.2 pounds of muscle. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But like, I will say like I hold muscle tissue. Like, so I think like there's probably like a genetic
for sure
aspect of that too. But I wonder what everybody looked like.
I would assume that back then they were all, for the most part, on average, probably more muscular. I think we've evolved further away from Neanderthal genetics. Also,
Sure.
They've been like the Neanderthal is supposedly bred into Homo sapien genetics also. So some of us have more Neanderthal than others. And that Neanderthal was a much more physical and muscular thing. So maybe you just have more Neanderthal.
Yeah. But for real,
you can tell just talking to him.
Yeah, he's a knuckle dragger for sure.
But it is really interesting. When you look too, like food sources of like what they were eating too, like it's definitely, they weren't eating Cheerios. Like
I had this argument when I was a kid, maybe not an argument, but I questioned my mom about this when I was younger of, you know, when people were just cavemen, you know, did we, you know, they didn't have like a huge variety. My argument was she was trying to get me to eat more vegetables, right? And I'm like, well, like cavemen didn't have like access to like vegetables and chicken and, you know, they didn't have milk to drink. They didn't like they probably just had like berries sometimes, or other times they just had meat. Like, why am I supposed to do this? And her argument back was like, well, do you think a caveman is healthier than you are? I was like, probably not.
Kevin, those cavemen lived to the ripe old age of 23. So
yeah. I was convinced after that. That stuck with me.
Yeah, I just want to say I need to continue hearing some of these thoughts that you had as a child, because the mind of you as a child, that's
Kevin was like painting.
A lot more. No, not like this is a compliment. There's a lot more
like not gonna be a
complexity to your thoughts as a child than I think a lot of children have.
All right, now that my head's expanded, Thomas, take me down the peg.
Kevin's like painting his Warhammer figurines. Like, shut up, Mom! Cavemen didn't eat fucking broccoli. Get out of my room.
That is probably more of what that conversation sounded like.
Well, you know, you spiced it up.
Okay, I'll take myself down a peg too here for a second. I don't know if I've shared this one on the podcast or not, but do you guys ever have those like weird thoughts that you remember back to when you were a kid of like you thought you knew how something worked, and then you think back to it now and you're like, oh fuck, I was an idiot. I thought poop was stored in your butt cheeks, and people with big butts just had a lot of poop in there.
You've been holding on to that.
You know what's funny about that is that's my favorite story to tell about you. I tell people that all the time. I tell them you still think that.
I can't prove it one way or another.
We can. We can prove it. They've got ways.
I haven't been convinced.
That's crazy. That is one of those kid thoughts.
Yeah. All right. Let me hear your guys. What was your guys' embarrassing kid thought story?
I didn't have that. Unfortunately. I didn't think that.
Didn't think
that.
It doesn't have to.
My mom, when my dad was in medical school, she would tell us that, I would be like, well, you know, where's Dad tonight? And he would be like, he's delivering babies right now. And I would sit there and I'd be like, he's delivering babies. Okay, so they're driving around in a truck.
Right.
Babies, like they're just delivering them. Like I guess that's how people get their babies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They just get delivered.
Shit. How else do they get the babies?
I remember mine now.
Dropping them off.
You get a baby?
like the mailman just throwing them.
Just a good newspaper.
It's like driving a big brown truck.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember mine. Mine's not great. I don't remember how old I was. Definitely not like 12. I wasn't. I was probably 4. I don't know. But I was like 24 hours a day. When's night then? When's night? You guys are crazy. It's 24 hours a day. That doesn't make any sense.
Dude, my sister, when she was really young, before she understood time, she thought 5 minutes was longer than 20 minutes. So we used to use that against her all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I remember being real confident about that. Being like 24 hours in a day. What the fuck are you guys talking about? When's night? Like I was, good. Chop that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What about night?
Yeah. So 24 hours a night.
Yeah.
Too.
All right.
All right. I got not to stick on this topic for too long, but I have another one that's still, I understand now, but it always messes with me when I was a kid. But righty tighty, lefty loosey mess with me because it's like the screw is going in a circle. It's not going one direction or the other. Like okay, like I understand, all right, if you look at the top, but what if you look at the bottom? It's going the other direction.
Right. What if you're looking right in the middle? Yeah, it's not going either direction.
Yeah, if I'm looking at it from the side, nothing's happening.
It's up and down.
That's awesome.
I hate that. I hate that analogy. I hate that trick.
Right.
Yeah, still to this day,
Dude,
huh?
I mean, I think I have like some like repressed memories of like my dad like yelling at me, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Don't know.
But for which it's not going either way. It's staying in one spot.
Oh, I'm about to pee my pants, boys.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Go for it. No. Pee your pants.
No.
All right. I'm kidding. Go to the bathroom. You're good.
That's a good one. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. That's a funny one.
Still pisses me off.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I never had any issues with that one.
You knew right off the bat when someone told you righty tighty, lefty loosey, you're like, oh yeah.
On a spinning thing, yes.
Yeah, you're looking at it, but like, I think maybe I was taught when I was really young and my dad's like righty tighty, lefty loosey. And I'm like,
Yeah, you're
looking
like
at it from underneath.
Angle. It's like coming at you. Like you got to reach over it. And like, yeah.
No, I'm thinking from underneath and I'm like, it's going left and it's getting tighter. Like,
Yeah. Not everybody's got that handyman gene in them. You know what I mean?
You are the official Triad handyman. Handsy handyman. We're almost.
Yeah, we're 2 hours. We're at 2 hours. Yeah, like right on the dot right now. So it's good.
This was a fun one, man.
24 hours a day? Oh yeah? When's night, numbnuts?
Riddle me this.
Yeah. It's fucking cabbage. Oh man, I was an idiot.
How was your day, man? Yep.
Yeah, another day in the life. Nah, it wasn't too bad. It's the one thing I needed to grab for tomorrow from Quail, I didn't grab while I was there, and we need it by like 7:45 in the morning tomorrow. Yeah, so I will be taking my happy butt up to Quail.
I think
after this.
Yeah, if it makes you feel any better, I think I'm gonna be here for a bit. Yep. I saw Evan at the gym and I told him immediately, I was like, yeah, I'm already regretting being here. Cause I was like, okay, I'll just work out after the podcast. It's kind of been my routine because it's like, that gives me that opportunity when Riley's sleeping to like really get some work done. Right. But today I got to about 1:30 and I was like, okay, like I'm at least at like a decent point. Like I'm pretty caught up. I've got a handful of things, but like I could do that pretty easily. Like tonight, I'm like, man, it'd be nice to catch a workout. Dude, not even halfway through my pre-workout meal. And Alyssa was like, hey, like we got to pack this wholesale order. Like, can you mind helping me with this? And then Ryan being like, hey, we have 3 videos to shoot this week and a new Define account calling me and emailing me. And it was just like, like I immediately regret this decision. Yeah. So, we're going to do all that stuff tonight.
Yeah, I am thankful that Mondays there is like the nice thing is the jiu-jitsu being class structured. The nice and not nice part is like if you miss it, you miss it. But it's also like you can make a point to have it like be at a place at a certain time. Yeah. Being able on Monday to go to jiu-jitsu before I go to work, not a chance in hell would I be going to a like a class after my Monday. Like, nah, it's just no way.
Where do you train? Sorry, where do you train at?
I train at Outsiders Combat Club in the city. So over by like Chicken and Pickle, Flicks Brew House kind of area.
Cool. So, you see from the highway, right?
Yeah. So right off the highway.
I was doing that, but I think Alyssa was getting stuck with Riley in the morning by herself. And I was like, we probably need to help out a little more. So those morning workouts are nice though. Yeah. If I can go and do that and then worry about my day. Yeah. Those are definitely ideal, but doesn't always happen. Evan, I think we're coming up on 2 hours here. So isn't that crazy how fast time goes by? Flew. Yeah. This was great though. I had a blast. Yeah, this was awesome, man. I really enjoyed talking with you guys. And man, this is I know we met before, but it's the first time I feel like we've gotten to like really sit and talk. Yeah. Man, this was really cool. I really appreciate your willingness to share and kind of talk about life experiences. Something you brought up before the podcast, and it's something I'm such a huge believer of, and you
touched on it during the podcast too, is like, I like who I am today, so I can't change my past kind of mentality. And I think like, if I didn't have those experiences and those things, like, I have to take something positive from them, even the negative things that have happened in my life. I like who I am today. So those all equal that. But man, just like getting to talk to you and hear your story, super inspirational, but also just like really cool getting to talk to you and hang out with you, man. I'm excited for the future you have in front of you. Like, I feel like you have some really cool things going. And like you said, feeling pulled into a direction that feels right, and being led somewhere is such a powerful feeling. And I'm really excited that that's a place that your life has found. Cause I really do think like, that is something that people search their whole life for. And until they're willing to do the things that have to be done in their life and release the things that need to be released in order to find that, it's tough, man. A lot of people go a long time, if ever, to kind of find that. And so, man, I'm really stoked that I got to sit and talk to you and kind of share stories back and forth. And dude, this was awesome, man. Genuinely. I
really, really appreciate it. And just kind of add, what you were saying about being open and all that. That's my gift. That's my blessing. That's one of the things I have. And my story and my testimony, and I'm blessed in a lot of ways, and I'm gifted in a lot of ways. And a lot of those have been the challenges and the difficult things that I've gone through. And if I have all these gifts from God, my gift back to God is what I do with those things. And part of that is my testimony.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to just talk about that. And if anything, it, helps inspire somebody. And that's part of what I'm
Amen.
Even just one person.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Evan, dude, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. I know with, a 9-month-old and being in business for yourself now, I'm sure your schedule is crazy. So making the time to hang out with us for a couple hours means a lot, man. It was nice to have, a couple hours to sit down and actually get to know you better without the feeling of like, man, I probably should keep working out kind of deal. So, man, it was, and like Thomas said, man, thank you so much for sharing. So, one for the, anybody that is interested in working with you, man, is there any way for them, best way to reach out, to you for that?
Yeah. Just on my Instagram, it's Ballew. It's EWBALLEW. In the link in my bio, you can sign up for the coaching and the training, or the posing, and you can book and schedule the posing online or in-person sessions, and you can do your consult and stuff all through the link in my bio. Yeah, so that's a good way to get a hold of me.
And at least follow, because I'm excited to see you step on stage again, man, because it's, I think kind of like what Thomas was saying, some people tend to hold on to muscle tissue really easy. But a lot of those times, those people hold on to fat a little easier. Other people struggle to hold on to muscle tissue, but can lose fat. Man, I'm pretty sure you're jacked and ripped without even working out. So, dude, it'll be exciting. You've got really good genetics, but you also have the work ethic, man. That it'll be cool to see you, like, especially at the physique that you have now at 13 weeks out. I think will be really exciting to see you step on stage in November. So
I appreciate it. I'm competing here now to be competitive, to see how well I can actually do. So follow along. It should be fun.
Absolutely.
I'm going to put a lot into it, everything.
Absolutely, man. It'll be exciting. So I do have one more thing I got to plug really quick. With us talking about so much Dungeons and Dragons, I think they do this here, but I'm pretty sure they do at least Warhammer, but like it's just tabletop games. We do have a customer that shops with us, Mike Ship. So if we piqued anybody's interest on Dungeons and Dragons or any other tabletop games, definitely go see him at Edmond Unplugged, because he's, man, I see him posting all the time, and it seems like they've got a really cool culture there, really cool environment, and all kinds of stuff. So
let's go.
I will see you guys there next Monday. So if you're listening to this, which will release next next Monday morning. We'll be there at 7 p.m.
Yeah. So Dungeons and Dragons. When
Yeah,
are we doing that?
I'll be dressed as Conan the Barbarian.
Going head first, right?
Going right. I've already got my outfit. No, but dude, what episode is this?
76.
76.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Awesome.
76 episodes. All right.
a lot.
Anything else?
I think we're good.
Anything for you?
I love the opportunity. Love talking to you guys.
Yeah.
I'd love to be back on.
Dude,
anytime you want or whatever.
absolutely.
We will have you back. man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Episode 76. The Dungeon Masters are out.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.